Okay, here I go again, fixing something. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I tell you, it is Wednesday. Wednesday. I mean, the time is just going by. It's going by, and I'm excited about it because today the sun is shining. And I decided I got me some new Dollar Tree glasses. Look at these. Look, they kind of go with the outfit. You see it with the orange and I mean, it came with all the colors. It has some black, some orange, some pink. I done put it together this morning. But good morning. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. I am. I'm excited. And yesterday, good morning, Juanita. I know you told me Guten Morgen. Is that how you say it? Come on, I'm getting there. I'm gonna have two more words by the end of the year. But anyway, good morning. I'm just so excited about today. And today I thought I was going to talk about my. Yesterday it was oh my, oh darn, oh whatever. Okay. So today I decided I was going to add on to the other part of that and talk about what else we could do with that short little statement. And I got excited because I did find a poem about myself. But a lot of times, my isn't always talking about just my personally. Now, today, that's what good morning, Joan. I'm going to talk about the my personally and mix a little bit of the other stuff up there to talk about the explanation. It's the expression of who my may be. And so we're looking at ownership, we're looking at an expression. Ownership would be who you are and what it is that my may encounter. My house, my car, my child, my man, my woman, my whatever. Okay, all of that talks about the my. Good morning, Deborah. All those are my's. Okay, but this particular my, we're going to mix it up a bit. So we're going to have a little bit of the my of ownership and then the my of expression, because look, that's what I feel like doing today. Okay. But anyway, I got my little glasses on. Look, I'm going to clean them because they look like everybody else held them at the dollar store before I got them. I did wipe them down. Now it look like my fingerprints is on there too. But anyway, we're going to start with a little poem. Look at these little glasses. Come on now. Come on. Here I go. My. And this poem is by Judy Ewald. And it says, my. I have to live with myself, and so I want to be fit for myself to know. I want to be able for days to go by, always to look myself straight in the eye. I don't want to stand with the sitting sun and hate myself for things I've done. I don't want to keep on a closet shelf a lot of secrets about myself and fool myself as I come to and go into thinking that nobody else will know. The kind of man and woman, because they didn't write woman there, I really am, I don't want to dress myself up in a sham. I want to go out with my head erect. I want to deserve all the men's respect. But here in the struggle for the fame and the pelf, I want to be able to like myself. I don't want to think as I come and go that I'm bluster and bluff and empty show. I never can hide myself from me. I see what others may never see. I know what others may never know. I can fool myself, and so, whatever happens, I want it to be self respecting and conscience free. This post was submitted by Judy Ewald. So anyway, I like Judy's poem because it just talks about the me I am, and I'm going to periodically come back to you talking about me or my or getting back down to, because what I've always made this Are You Stuck About is you. It's not Sandy. It's going to be you, whoever you are. You, Joan. You, Deborah. You, whoever. Whoever. It is you. Because it's a personal journey that you can write some things down, and by the end of maybe 2 weeks, a month, a year, you done found something out about who you are, what it is you do, what you want, what you need, what's lacking. It all comes out. It will come out. And I believe that all of us have a book in us, even if it's just a book to be left for the generations behind us. But good morning, Kiwanis. Me, myself, and I. There you go. Me, myself, and I. That's good. That's good. But anyway, this poem, I liked it. And as I said, it's by Judy Ewald. But anyway, when I was looking up my after yesterday, when we were talking about and we talked about the fact that a lot of times we say my right after it. Oh my, or whatever, bad word. We can use any other kind of way. But when we use the my with it, what's it mean? Is it just an expression, or is it ownership? It's one or the other, or it's both. Okay? Because sometimes we may be getting mad with somebody and have to express ourselves about the fact that somebody's using our stuff, which would be mine. That would be my car, my house, my water. I remember living with my mom, after undergraduate school, and my mother would say, "Hey, look, that's my electricity." Well, I remember tell you she couldn't say electricity, so I'm straightening it up. She said electricity. That's my electricity. Turn off a light. You're not in the room, turn the light off. Okay. So a lot of times so the ownership has to do with sometimes with payment, sometimes with the fact that it's just up in there, it's theirs. They bought it, they own it, it's theirs. Okay. And it may be the same thing with how you feel. I don't know if you feel a certain way sometimes about some things that they're yours. And so you have to say my, okay, and put it back in perspective, because sometimes people get mixed up about what's theirs and what's yours, or they've somewhat taken over the ownership because we may not use it that much. They do that, especially kids. But anyway, when we speak to my, it says belonging to or associated with a speaker, such as if I say it's whoever's talking is going to say, that's mine, that's my stuff, my thing, my presentation, my. Okay? Or it could be just the expression, oh my goodness, oh my, oh whatever, bad word. Okay? But anyway, you could also be talking about it being a terminator. A determinator is related to and associated with belonging. It belongs. It is my. And sometimes we don't. Good morning, Marion. Good morning, Maurice. Sometimes we don't always get back down to my because we're too busy mad about the fact that they use it in the first place. But sometimes we have to put ownership on stuff. That's my stuff. Don't use that. I used to live in a dorm with people, and I had a girlfriend, and she would go and steal everybody's food. They would put it in the little refrigerator. And I wasn't an RA at that time. I became one later on to understand my role of trying to keep the peace. But I would always talk to her. And I remember she was out of Buffalo. I'm not going to call her name. But anyway, she would steal all the food at night. And people, I would see her in the hallway coming back. And she'd come to my room. And I said, so-and-so, what you doing up? And you cleaning your teeth. She said, girl, that was some good food up in that refrigerator. And I said, that's stealing. That's not yours. She said, it was mine when I got it. So that was my food that they put there for me. That's how she used to always say it. I would get so tickled. I said, girl, that's just wrong. That is wrong. And she'd laugh about it and go on about her business. But sometimes you do have to what it says, food for thought. Don't plagiarize. That's right. That's right. Don't. If you can be in a situation where you can, don't lie about anything that's not yours. Don't take on anything. Like every time I give you a poem, I tell you whose poem it is. It's not my poem. Now, I do write poetry, but I didn't give you that poem. So I'm going to tell you who it belongs to. Same thing with music. You don't want to go out like that. You don't want to go out where people say, yes, she stole everything. ever had. I don't want my name associated like this. But anyway, when we talk about we talk about the jolliness of it, the goodness of it. Sometimes it's the anger of it. When you tell somebody's they get the impression that you're about to throw a blow or something, because it's just become really an issue of confrontation. But it says, but when you're really talking about you're talking about the me of something, the very ownership of something, the personalizing of something. It belongs to somebody. That's that. When they say then you understand that all other bets are off. Now sometimes people will clarify and say that's not true. I bought that. They just happened to have taken it, and I didn't say anything. Okay. Sometimes that happens, but you have to just look at what my does and what my can do. Sometimes my can be very volatile, very angry. Excuse me, I have a tickle. But anyway, when we break down the M is for me. It's personal. It is a me. Used in the first person. I'm talking about myself. Talking about myself. It's me. It says, don't want your good to be evil spoken of. That's right. That's right. That's so true, Maurice. But then it says, used by a speaker to refer to himself or herself as an object or verb or preposition. So it's it's myself, and somebody else, if they're talking about someone else, it might be yours, or truly yours. It's the author of something. It's the speaker of something, the writer of something. The self, the me, the myself, the I, and the I personally. So all those have to do with what me is. So me, we've already gone over weeks ago. So when we talk about my just what I say solidifies. It makes it even more personal when you say it's mine. It's not just me, it's mine. It belongs to me. So sometimes we just, when we're clarifying something, we have to let people know, I'm not talking about you. That's not yours. It belongs to me. It's a my thing. And we sometimes have difficulty telling people what is ours. Let's see, Maurice says, and oh yes. And Johnny Gill, I love that song. And I thought about that song when I was my. Okay? But he's saying you're sure looking. Okay, we ain't going to go there tonight. Because he said you're sure looking good to me. Okay. But anyway, something's in my chair sticking me. This is an old chair. I got it in the flea market. And I see seems like a nail is coming up from the bottom. Hey, it was my chair to do interviews with and do this kind of stuff. So anyway, you get what you get. It was only $25. So there you go. And then the Y of my is yours. So it's me and then it's yours. So yours belonging to a person associated with a person or people that are speaking or addressing something. So it says belonging to or associated with any person in general. So any person can say what belongs to them and what is theirs, they call it. We would say, speaking to them, it would be yours. What is it for me is for me. What is for me is for me. That's right. They always associate that when we're talking about if God has something for you. It says if it's for you, it's for you. So if it's for me, it's for me. It's not going to be designed for anybody else but me. And so it says yours could also be something that's it says endemic. It's hers, it's his, it's individual, it's inherent, it's intrinsic, it's mine, it's owned, it's particular, it's theirs, and it's. So all of those things speak to what yours is. And a lot of times we get mixed up of what's theirs and what's mine. I remember when my husband was living, he said his money was his money and my money was his money and my money. And we had to get that straight. Why? Because I made more money than him. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is that it wouldn't have been fair. You know, we can split things. That's cool. Okay, but generally speaking, I always remember my dad bringing that money home to my mom, and my mom would make sure that everything was taken care of, all the bills were paid. My mom had that kind of mind of what, what my dad did to support the family. My mom made sure it was done in such a way that even with a lot of children, me being the 10th, she still, we never were on welfare. We were never hungry. We were never without clothes. We were never without a shelter. We were never without, a car. We always had something. And you think about that growing up in the period of time in which we grew up in, when segregation was raging in the South, and so many things of what I would call residuals of slavery, and that mind, that mind of oppression towards the color, really, even though it was there, we didn't see it that much, because my folks just happened to move to an area in New York that I'm quite sure it was there, but we never dealt with it. We didn't know much about it as young children. My neighborhood was multicultural, so I grew up with people that didn't look like me, and it was okay. It was okay, because that was what my parents fostered. Now, never once did they help us, not know, that they did not help us know who we were. That we were, black, and that might go to other portions of the country and feel very different about who we were. So my mother would always make us understand that in this case, is my color is brown. My race at that time, when we were really little, I remember it being Negro. But as we grew, and as the understanding of the race grew, our name was changed, in terms of what we refer to ourselves. But we always understood that regardless of where we lived, we knew who we were. And so the in this case was that my color is, my name is, my address is, my house is, my parents are. And so that was how we were able to define the me within the my. Just understanding that we were who we were, regardless of the fact that we were raised differently than some of our cousins who were raised in the South. Their exposure was totally different in terms of who they were. Now, we understood what, riots were, because my father would explain it, and my mother. They would always explain stuff. Good morning, Clarence. So we would get to the point where we understood what our worth was, regardless of the fact that we were raised in a neighborhood that was multicultural. We still knew the fact that our color was our color. Our parents were our parents, and we grew up in a two-parent household. So unlike many of my other friends, they were different. Our basic needs were met during those years. Parents went without certain things for themselves to give to us, and that's true. That's true. My father would go without to make sure my mother had. My mother was always, like the queen. He just felt that way about her. So she was always, dialed up. Even if she only had 4 or 5 dresses, you would never know it. She was always dressed to the nines. When she went out, I remember those little shirt dresses, and she had a little, nice little waist, and her little shoes and everything. So they were always dressed a certain way. And so we understood that. And now you see where my kind of gets distorted, because it's more exposed as to what isn't ours. Fairness sometimes isn't always ours. Honesty isn't always ours. Even though we try to be honest, others may not be as honest with us. So we have those discussions as to what do you truly own. And that's why I say my, because my could also be an expression of oh my God, something's wrong. I'm not where I should be. I'm not how I should feel, you know. But it's okay. It's okay because you have time to what I call ponder these thoughts. That's one of the reasons why I bring you Are You Stuck? Just to highlight the fact that something as simple as my could be kind of lost in our own understanding of who we are and what other people understand us to be as our yours. That belongs to you, or that's all I'm going to give you, and that's what we take. But our takeaway should always be that we know who the me is, and why the me, results in the my. Why I, this is something I built that's mine. It's my ownership, my thoughts. That's the same thing when I talk about people when you're talking and sometimes even writing intellectual property. That's yours. That means you thought it up. It was your, you created it. And so creativity has its worth, you know. But a lot of times you see where things that you've said and things that you've shared with others become things that they own. I'm just saying. Sometimes that happens. So sometimes you have to be careful about what it is that you put out there, in the airways, because, even though you wrote it, somebody else will claim it. Somebody else will take it. That's even when you're writing a book. That's why you have to do the copyright. You have to do copyright. You have to do basically putting a stamp on your own intellectual property. That would be your my copyright, my work, my words, my book, my music, all of those things. So anyway, when we look at my, we look at the me of my, and we look at the yours of my, because yours of my also is relative, because that means that you've already delineated or differentiated the fact that something does not belong to you. That means it would be yours. It's not mine. It's not my thing. So therefore it belongs to someone else. And so you have to put it out there. Have any of you ever had a situation where you had to confront someone about something that was yours that they had either taken, were using, just dealing with as if it became their stuff? Write it in there. Tell me about it. Just tell me, because I know it happens. Oh, good morning, my niece Jamie. How are you, sweetie? Up in Atlanta. Good to see you in the space there. But anyway, the exciting thing about my is to understand that my puts you in a position of not only ownership but also explanation. You can say my, or you can say that belongs to me. That's mine. That is my stuff. And a lot of times we don't do it. We're afraid of confrontation. We're afraid of thinking that somebody might. Good morning, Trisha. How are you? We feel that people will not like us if we tell them that something belongs to us. You have to ask yourself, does it matter? Does it? Not necessarily. No, it doesn't. Because if people care about you in the first place, they would never take anything that belongs to you, and then they would own up to the fact that it is yours when confronted. But here's some questions for you. I tell you, I'm trying to get these done within, a lesser period of time, so I don't hold you long, and there you can come and stay a minute and then get on to the rest of your day. But anyway, here's the questions. What my's do you own? Like my house, my friends, my car, and you don't even own your friends. My goodness would be an expression. My God would be an expression. But the other things, good morning, Liz. The other things are my ownership. Ownership, meaning that you own them because they're yours. Okay, let's see. Maurice says an idea of making things better at work was taken and I was not given credit. Absolutely. They do that all the time. When you working with people, sometimes you have to be very careful of that. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when going through for my doctorate, we had to form what they call a mega group, a super group. And the super group required, it started out with the dyad, and then it went to the triad, and then the quad, and then so forth and so on. And eventually we had like 8 or 10 people in this group. But everyone was supposed to give their share. Everyone. Well, guess what? There were like 2 or 3 people in there, did absolutely nothing, contributed nothing. The rest of us were up all night, constantly working hard, doing whatever we could. Good morning, T. Doing whatever we could. Good morning, OJ. Trying to get all of this work done, because even though we were online, we were working our butts off trying to make sure we stayed on top of hopefully getting an A in the course. Well, we tried to complain to the instructor, the professor. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to hear a thing. So he just said, well, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever way you get through is the way you get through. So therefore, he was letting us know that there's some people that will ride your coattail. You take it in terms of you do all the work, you do all the research, you do all the writing, you do all the programming, you do everything, and they get the credit, the same credit that you got. So we were very upset that 2 of these people got A's. We got A's because we did what we were supposed to do, but they also got an A. They also got the A. We were upset about that. But sometimes that's what people do. They will ride in, with you doing my work as it relates to the total group, which would be ours. Okay, once again, another form. And yet and still, they'll still get the same grade. And that's what happened. If that's happened to you, write it in there, because I know it happened to me. I know they do it at work all the time. People will say that they put a team together and one person does all the work and the team gets the credit. Well, the team doesn't deserve the credit. The person that did all the work deserves the credit. But that is life. And the other one, the second question is, who is your me and how does it relate to your my? Who is your me and how does it relate to your my? And remember what I was saying, that my has this thing that me's in there. Me's in there. But does it take over to the point where you forget all that you've done or all that you're about, because everything is just a possession or a outcry, but you've never really put anything in it? So that's why I said, who is your me and how do you deal with it? Yes. And the last question is, what's really yours? What is really yours as it relates to my? What is really yours? Sometimes we say a lot of things are ours, but they're not. Or we think they were, or they started out being ours. Have any of you experienced that, where something started out belonging to you, but as it got better, as long as it was a lot of work to it, it was yours. But once the work was conquered and it got closer to the end, and you found out that the credit went kind of lopsided, meaning the other person got most of the credit, and you never spoke up about it. And sometimes that happens, and that will happen in a group. That will happen in a it just keeps doing something crazy. But anyway, we're hoping that you're looking at your me, and what belongs to somebody else, what's yours or theirs, in a way that makes it healthy. It makes it healthy for you. Mentally, you're okay with whatever is. To me, the time that we have during this pandemic really gives us time for great pause to say, what have I done? What am I doing? How will I go forward? It happens in a marriage too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Marriage, I just remember that stuff. I remember it, where, you do 80% of the work, and they don't even get the 20 done. So then you have to go back and get to do the 20. Because they say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and none of it gets done. So you find yourself having to hire people to do the stuff that you can't do. Not tall enough, not big enough, not strong enough. I'm just saying. All those things happen. Good morning, Miss Rosie. All those things happen. And they happen for a reason. They happen for a reason. And the reason is that we understand what my is. And that we understand what me is in relation to the my. And what you need to give off to somebody else and not take back. If you know there's something that you can't do, or there's a possibility of getting hurt, or doing it incorrectly or something, that's why I've always hired people. Even when my husband was living, I had to hire folks because he would say he's going to do it and never get to it. And so, excuse me, I don't want to get shocked by the stove anymore. That means there's something going on up in there. Okay? There's a shortage. He said, oh, don't worry about it. Just make sure your hands aren't wet when you're doing it. Okay? The possibility of shock is still there. Therefore, I've been conditioned to believe that it's dangerous to go by my stove. So once again, you may have to realize that it wasn't his job because he gave it back to me. So it was mine. It was my job to do something with. Find somebody to fix it. And that's what you do. To ground, because obviously something wasn't grounded properly, But sometimes that's what we do. Our life just alters around understanding our purpose, understanding, the fact that we occasionally get stuck. We get stuck with not knowing what's up, what's down, who's right, who's wrong. And then we get stuck with not knowing what's mine or my stuff and someone else's stuff. We don't know. We just get stuck. We get stuck. But I want you to know that I'm stuck on y'all. I'm going to be stuck on y'all. I'm going to call you my friends that come into this place every day that I do this Monday through Friday. I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that some of you have been, faithful and you do come. I appreciate that. I appreciate all who share the videos because they, I've heard from a lot of people, but as I said, I can't see all that come in and view it because I guess they have to be friends with me or something for me to know that they're around. But, interesting, interesting that you can just watch a video and not even, really be tied into it. But I want y'all to have a wonderful day. I want it to be a my day, figure out what my is for you. Have all the fun you want. Make it a day where you're not tussling with anybody. There's some excitement. I woke up like this, and then I found these Dollar Tree glasses, and I tell you, I said, ooh, Dollar Tree glasses go pretty good. So anyway, I'm having fun. I'm going to see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock Central Daylight Time. And we're going to see what else we're going to unravel on our way to finding out more of who we are and what we're all about, and that we would not be stuck. Okay? Love you very much. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.